Greetings, football fans. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the exciting content we have coming your way. Today, we're diving deep into the latest developments surrounding the 2025 NFL Draft. There's so much to talk about, so grab a seat and let's get into it. To begin, let's address the fact that we're now just 368 subscribers away from hitting the massive milestone of 200 subscribers. That's incredible, and I want to thank all of you for being a part of this journey. We've got a lot of analysis to cover, and I'll be taking you through all the latest rumors, predictions, and breakdowns that are making the rounds in the world of football. Plus, don't forget that we'll be providing live draft coverage, so stay tuned for that. Now, with the draft right around the corner, it's time to start looking at what we can expect. The consensus on the number one pick seems to be forming around Cam Ward, with many experts predicting that Tennessee will make him the first overall selection. This is pretty much locked in, unless a last-minute trade shakes things up, which, as we know, is always a possibility in the draft. After Ward, Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are expected to round out the top 4 picks. There's even talk that Hunter could go second overall, though that still seems to be up in the air. Carter's position, meanwhile, remains uncertain, though he's widely regarded as one of the top talents in this class. One of the most interesting players in this draft is Shedeur Sanders. Rumors are swirling that the New York team has been keeping a close eye on him ever since last year, which could mean that he could be selected by them at some point in the first round. Although he's not currently the frontrunner for the 3rd overall pick, the general consensus is that Sanders' fate in this draft remains up in the air. If he does go 3rd overall, there's a strong chance that Abdul Carter will be picked right after him at the 4th spot. However, if Sanders doesn't land at 3rd, Carter might take that spot instead. It's a fluid situation, and we'll have to wait and see how it unfolds. Speaking of surprises, Jacksonville might be a dark horse in this year's draft. While many analysts, including myself, have suggested that Mason Graham could be a fit for the Jaguars, the truth is that they remain one of the biggest question marks heading into the draft. There's a sense that the Jaguars might be positioning themselves to make a surprise move, and Graham's name continues to pop up in mock drafts as a potential pick for them. They're seen as a wild card, with several intriguing prospects being considered, and they could easily change the course of the draft with a surprise selection. However, we're entering the week of the draft, and as we all know, this is a time when things can shift quickly. The final decisions are never a sure thing, especially when you're dealing with a team as unpredictable as Jacksonville. On top of that, Ashton Jeanty is a name that's come up recently, with reports suggesting that the Jaguars could be looking to move up in the draft to target players like him, potentially overtaking Las Vegas in the process. If they do manage to make that move, Teteroa McMillan could also be on their radar as a potential wide receiver for the team. The Jaguars' decision could have a ripple effect on other teams, potentially triggering a chain of picks that would impact the entire first round. In the case of the Raiders, they seem fixated on Jeanty and Membu, but it's worth noting that Jalen Walker could still surprise us and find his way to Las Vegas. Meanwhile, Carolina and New Orleans are expected to focus on defensive players and offensive linemen, which could have a direct impact on Dallas. The Cowboys are hoping to land one of the top receivers available at the 12th pick, but it remains to be seen if someone like McMillan will still be on the board when they're on the clock. With Liam Cohen at the helm, Dallas is looking to build a more dynamic passing attack, so they could very well target a wide receiver in this spot. But what about Sanders, you ask? Well, his status continues to be one of the biggest mysteries of the draft. While teams like New York and Cleveland have shown interest, there's still a lot of uncertainty about when and where he will be selected. Could he go as high as 3rd overall, or will he slip down into the later part of the first round? Teams are evaluating him thoroughly, but no one seems quite sure where he'll land. This is one of those situations where the unknown surrounding a player can make the draft even more exciting, and Sanders' fate could very well determine the direction of the first round. As we approach the draft, the level of ambiguity only increases. Teams are still weighing their options, and while some may have already made up their minds, others are still on the fence about certain players. There's talk of teams moving up in the draft, But the market for trades doesn't seem all that favorable this year. It's not looking like there will be a lot of teams eager to move up, which could make for a quieter draft than usual. But as we know, anything can happen on draft night. What is clear though is that there's a lot of movement at the top of the draft board, and teams are jockeying for position. The general strategy seems to be to get players who can contribute right away, particularly in areas where teams are thin. As we look forward to the draft, the excitement builds. And with so many talented players available, it's hard to predict exactly how things will shake out. We can only hope that the draft delivers some of those jaw-dropping moments that we've come to expect each year. So, what do you think? Who will be the big surprises? Which team will make the boldest moves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates as we count down the days to the 2025 NFL Draft. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're as excited about the draft as I am. We've covered a lot of ground so far, but there's still so much more to unpack. As we move closer to draft day, it's becoming clearer that this year's draft class is full of intriguing prospects and unexpected twists. We've discussed the top picks, the possible surprises, and the teams that could shake things up, but there's still plenty left to break down. Let's dive into more predictions, key players, and some potential shockers that could change the landscape of the draft. One thing that's really standing out this year is how much of the focus has shifted to the quarterbacks. With Cam Ward widely expected to go first overall, it's no surprise that so much of the attention has been on him. But what about the other quarterbacks in this class? Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. For months, we've heard whispers that Sanders could be a game changer in the NFL. And now, as the draft nears, those whispers are turning into louder discussions. His stock has fluctuated over time, but with the New York team and others showing serious interest, there's a real possibility that Sanders could end up being one of the top 5 picks, despite not being the consensus number 2 quarterback behind Ward. The other quarterback to watch is Membu, who could be an absolute steal for a team later in the draft. Although he hasn't been talked about as much as Sanders or Ward, Membu's upside is undeniable. His size, athleticism, and accuracy make him an intriguing option, and there are several teams who could be waiting to grab him in the later rounds, hoping to develop him into a starter down the line. While it's unclear exactly where he'll land, it wouldn't be a huge surprise to see Membu go higher than expected if a team falls in love with his potential. Moving on to the wide receiver position, there are a number of players who could change the draft landscape. A name that's been popping up frequently in the first round is Teteroa McMillan, and it's easy to see why. McMillan is a versatile, explosive receiver who can line up anywhere on the field. His route running, speed, and ability to create separation are top-notch, and there's no doubt that he could make an immediate impact for any team. However, with a deep pool of wide receiver talent this year, it remains to be seen whether McMillan will be the first off the board or if other players like Jalen Walker or Ashton Genty could push him down in the rankings. One team that could potentially target McMillan is Dallas. The Cowboys are in a position where they need to add weapons to the offense, and McMillan could be the perfect fit. With Liam Cohen at the helm, they're looking to build a more dynamic passing attack, and McMillan would provide that element of speed and explosiveness that they're lacking. But McMillan isn't the only option for Dallas. They could go in a different direction entirely, targeting defensive players or offensive linemen, depending on what's available when they're on the clock. Either way, the Cowboys are in a good position to add a difference maker to their roster, and it's going to be interesting to see how they approach their pick. Meanwhile, other teams like Carolina and New Orleans are also going to be looking for impact players. Carolina, for instance, could target defensive help, particularly in the secondary or at linebacker. With a solid foundation in place on offense, they're in a position to add a defensive playmaker who can step in and make an immediate impact. New Orleans is also in a similar spot with a defense that could be bolstered by the right pick. Whether they target a defensive lineman or a linebacker, expect them to go for a player who can contribute right away. The more we look at this draft, the more we realize that a lot of the excitement comes from the unpredictability of it all. Sure, we have our favorites and our predictions, but anything can happen once the first few picks go down. This is a draft where teams could make bold moves, and even the top prospects might not land exactly where we expect them to. A team that could be a huge player in this draft is Jacksonville. While their position in the first round might not be as high as some of the other teams we've mentioned, they could still make a big splash by trading up to target a player who fits their needs. Whether they're looking for a wide receiver, a defensive lineman, or someone to help shore up their offensive line, Jacksonville is one team that could surprise everyone with a bold move. At the end of the day, the NFL draft is always full of surprises, and this year is no different. There's so much talent on display, and each team is going to have to weigh their options carefully. Whether it's taking a chance on a quarterback like Sanders or Membu, or grabbing a game-changing receiver like McMillan, there are countless opportunities for teams to add key players to their rosters. And with the unpredictability of draft day, we can't be sure how it will all unfold. As we approach the final days before the draft, all eyes will be on the teams at the top of the order. Will they stay put, or will they make bold moves to secure the players they want? Will the quarterbacks rise to the top, or will the defensive players take center stage? One thing's for sure, this year's draft is shaping up to be one of the most exciting and unpredictable in recent memory. So, as always, I want to hear from you. Who are your favorite prospects in this draft class? Which teams do you think will make the biggest moves? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. The 2025 NFL Draft is almost here, and we'll be covering it all. Stay tuned for more updates, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In what could become one of the most shocking moves in recent NFL history, superstar quarterback Patrick Mahomes is reportedly one step away from signing with the Dallas Cowboys. The news, which has sent tremors through the football world, comes amid growing speculation that Mahomes was seeking a new challenge after years of dominance with the Kansas City Chiefs. Sources close to the situation suggest that negotiations between Mahomes' representatives and the Cowboys front office have accelerated in recent days. While no official agreement has been announced, insiders describe the deal as virtually done, pending only a few final contractual details. If confirmed, this transfer would redefine the landscape of the NFL and position the Cowboys as instant Super Bowl favorites. Mahomes, a two-time MVP and three-time Super Bowl champion, has become the face of the league since taking over as Kansas City starter in 2018. His combination of arm talent, athleticism, and football IQ has revolutionized the quarterback position. The idea of him suiting up in a Cowboys uniform, leading America's team at AT&T Stadium, feels almost surreal to fans on both sides of the league. Kansas City, meanwhile, is said to be preparing for a post-Mahomes era, a possibility that once seemed unthinkable. Reports indicate that the Chiefs have already begun evaluating trade options and future quarterback prospects, signaling their acceptance of a future without their franchise icon. While fans await official confirmation, the potential move has already sparked debates, emotions, and endless speculation. If Mahomes does indeed land in Dallas, the 2025 NFL season could go down as one of the most unforgettable in league history. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.